Okay, that ground bracket went. See where the blue, see where that blue wire is? That's the positive terminal. It's on the circuit board right there. Okay, I changed that. That used to be, that positive terminal used to be over here. See that on the gun? It used to be on the gun. Now that the gun, okay, the gun is now hooked to the negative terminal. The negative terminal is that long wire that's connected to the bracket right here. It's too long of a wire, but it already had ends on it, so I had to bend it to get it to go in there. Better if you have the right size wire. But make sure that you use a ground wire. Use a heavy wire. This wire that I use for ground was from my friend. It was one of his old welding clamps. He cut off a piece and put the ends on it, but the wire was too long, so I had to bend it to get it to fit in here. Anyway, what I did was disconnect the bracket from that terminal where the positive's on, where that positive's on now. Okay, I disconnected. It used to be that bracket. Used to be all the way hooked here with an L shape. It bolted right there with no wires. That was the actual negative. Okay, what I did now, I took that positive cable, and now the positive cable is actually on the negative terminal where your ground clamp goes, okay? And now this negative right here goes over here and connects to the gun, which used to be the blue end, okay? That's negative now. That gun is hooked negative. You can see the gun right there. The gun is now hooked to negative, and that's how you reverse the polarity. You're actually changing the gun from being on positive to negative. So right now it's completed. I went ahead and I cut that bracket off. I took the bracket off of there completely, cut it off, drilled a hole, put some leak tight on there, blue leak tight, bolted it up, and hooked it to the bracket. You got to make sure now, very careful, make sure that that bolt or nothing's touching the cover when you put the cover back on. Okay, the way flux core works, the plate you're welding, if you're welding angle iron or whatever, it actually gets very, very hot. It's not like arc welding. Okay, so you need to make sure that that ground wire is not touching the case, the metal on the case. Make sure of that. And now what you're doing is the gun is now hooked to negative, and then your ground clamp would go to the now positive terminal, okay? And if you look at my other video I had out there, it'll show you what it looks like before I switch polarity from the factory, how the welds look like crunchy peanut butter, very nasty welds. And then after I change the polarity, very beautiful welds. And it's strong, it gets very hot, makes a hot puddle. You could go up to a 1/4 inch steel without a problem. I hope this helps. Anybody who has MIG 999 or any welder that only has 2 terminals like this, some welders come for the gun and then they come with a plus and a negative terminal. This one doesn't. It only has the 2 terminals, that's all. And the one in the middle is just for the wire feed. So the factory never gave, some of the better will give a plus and a minus inside the cabinet to switch the polarity. A lot of them will put like over here, they'll put a terminal right here. One will be plus, one will be negative, and you can just change the wires and reverse the polarity that way. This welder, they don't give you no way. It's fixed welded. Fixed from the shop or from the factory for MIG, not for flux torque. I hope that helps. And just have an electrician do this for you, because if you mess up, you could hurt yourself or hurt the machine, okay? And then once you do that, it's not a problem. It'll weld beautifully. and then your voltage for the heavy metal, your volts, I put a little bit slightly over plus middle. If you're just doing thinner material, just leave the voltage setting and the middle setting. And then you can see where I have for 1/8 inch metal, it's turned over 3/4 of the way. It was like at 930 or something to do the heavier metal. If you're gonna do real thin metal, then you would back the amperage down. It says 999, where the more expensive machines would only say 200 amps or 300 amps, whatever they're designed for, 250. For some reason they say 999, which is not true. The machine is only rated for 140 to 180 actually. It's a 200 amp machine. So I hope this helps. See you later.